Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. In the latest episode of Bold and the Beautiful, viewers witnessed the complex dynamics between Thomas Forrester, Matthew Atkinson, Paris Buckingham, Diamond White, and Hope Logan, Anika Noel. The episode teases the potential for Hope to disrupt Paris and Thomas's impending nuptials, stirring speculation among fans about the fate of these relationships. The episode also features Steffy Forrester, Jacqueline Massens-Wood, who played a crucial role in Thomas's decision to relocate to France with Douglas Forrester, Henry Joseph Samiri, and her ongoing animosity towards Hope. Meanwhile, Thomas, Ridge Forrester, Thorsten Kaye, and Eric Forrester, John McCook, engage in a generational conversation about Thomas's upcoming wedding. The looming question is whether Hope, who still harbors feelings for Thomas, might make a desperate move to claim him, causing turmoil in the lead-up to the wedding on the CBS soap opera. Thomas and Paris plan to return to Forster International in Europe post-wedding, leaving fans wondering about Hope's future. As Hope grapples with her emotions, the soap opera hints at potential drama at Thomas and Paris's wedding, increasing the anticipation for the coming episodes. Get all your daily Bold and the Beautiful spoilers and news here at Soap Dirt, and stay tuned for updates on your favorite characters' fates. Paris Buckingham stood in front of the mirror in the Forrester mansion, smoothing the delicate lace of her wedding dress. The gown was a masterpiece, designed by none other than her sister Zoe, with input from the legendary Couture house itself. The reflection staring back at her was radiant. She was about to marry Zend Forrester, the man of her dreams, in a ceremony that would be the talk of Los Angeles. The excitement and anticipation in the air were palpable. Outside, guests gathered under the sprawling California sky, where the mansion's garden had been transformed into an opulent wedding venue. Rows of white chairs lined with delicate roses and peonies framed the aisle, leading to a grand archway adorned with even more flowers. Everything was perfect, yet there was an unshakable tension that lingered just beneath the surface, as if something was about to go terribly wrong. Hope Logan, one of the first to arrive, stood in the corner of the garden, watching the preparations. As a Forrester by marriage, she had been invited to the wedding, but her presence was more complicated than a simple family obligation. Hope's eyes scanned the scene, locking onto Zend as he chatted with his groomsmen. He was impeccably dressed in a sharp, custom tuxedo, exuding charm and sophistication. Hope had spent the past few weeks trying to suppress a growing realization, one that had crept up on her like an unexpected storm. She was in love with Zended. It had started innocently enough, light-hearted conversations, shared glances, and moments of connection that seemed harmless, but it had evolved into something much deeper, something that now gnawed at her conscience as Paris prepared to walk down the aisle. Hope's heart pounded in her chest as the magnitude of the day hit her. She knew she was on the brink of an impossible choice. Her mind flashed back to her marriage with Liam Spencer, which had been a roller coaster of love, betrayal, and heart-talk. Could she really let another chance at true happiness slip away? Especially when she knew in her heart that Zenda was the one she wanted. As the guests took their seats, the ceremony was moments from beginning. Hope watched Zendi standing at the altar, his gaze flickering with a nervous excitement that only added to his allure. She couldn't bear the thought of seeing him say vows to Paris, knowing that those words should have been meant for her. The inner turmoil became too much, and before she knew it, her legs were moving, carrying her toward the house, toward Paris. Inside, Paris was taking one last look at herself when the door creaked open. She turned, expecting to see Zoe or perhaps her father. But it was Hope who stepped into the room, her expression unreadable. Paris's heart skipped a beat at the sight of her. "Hope, what are you doing here?" Paris asked, her voice a mix of surprise and concern. Hope took a deep breath, steeling herself for what she knew was going to be the most difficult conversation of her life. "Paris, there's something I need to tell you," she began, her voice trembling slightly. "I know this is the worst possible time, but I can't stay silent any longer. Paris's eyes widened in confusion. What are you talking about? Hope, you're scaring me. Hope stepped closer, her eyes pleading for understanding. I'm in love with Zendi, she confessed, the words hanging heavy in the air. I didn't realize it until recently, but it's true, and I can't let you marry him without knowing how I feel. Paris stared at Hope in disbelief, her mind reeling. This is a joke, right? You're just nervous about the wedding, trying to make sure I'm sure of my decision. Hope shook her head, tears welling up in her eyes. I wish it were that simple, but I can't stand by and watch you marry him when I know I'm in love with him. I'm so sorry, Paris. I never wanted it to come to this. The room seemed to close in around them as Paris struggled to process Hope's revelation. Her dream wedding was slipping through her fingers, and her closest friend was the one pulling it apart. The hurt in Paris's eyes was like a dagger to Hope's heart, but she knew she couldn't turn back now. Hope, do you even hear yourself? Paris's voice cracked with emotion. This is my wedding day. How could you do this to me? I never wanted to hurt you, Paris, Hope said, her voice filled with regret. But I can't lie to you or to myself. I love Zendid, and I think he loves me too. I don't want to ruin your happiness, but I have to be honest about how I feel. Paris' shock was giving way to anger, her hands balling into fists at her sides. You can't just waltz in here and claim him, Hope. This is supposed to be my day, my future. How can you do this to me? Hope was silent, knowing there was no easy answer. Outside, the soft strains of wedding music began to play, signaling the start of the ceremony. Paris glanced toward the door, her mind spinning with the weight of what was happening. I need to talk to Zendi, Paris said, her voice shaky but resolute. I need to hear it from him. Hope nodded, understanding the gravity of the moment. I'll wait here, she said softly, stepping aside to let Paris pass. Paris moved through the house as if in a trance, her heart pounding in her chest. The moment she stepped into the garden, all eyes turned to her, the bride appearing before the ceremony had officially begun. Zendi's smile faltered as he saw her, concern etching his handsome features. Paris, he asked, stepping forward. What's wrong? She took a deep breath, steeling herself for what she had to do. Zendi, we need to talk, she said, her voice loud enough for everyone to hear. The guests exchanged puzzled glances, whispering among themselves as Zendi followed Paris away from the altar. Once they were out of earshot, Paris turned to face him, her emotions swirling. Zenda, I need to know, do you love Hope? Zenda's eyes widened in shock. What? Paris, this is crazy. Why would you even ask that? Because she just told me she's in love with you, Paris replied, her voice breaking. And I need to know if you feel the same way. Zenda was silent for a moment, the weight of the situation bearing down on him. He looked into Paris's eyes, seeing the pain and fear there, and knew he couldn't lie to her. Paris, I care about you so much, but I can't deny that there's something between me and Hope. I didn't want it to be true, but I can't ignore it. Paris felt as though the ground had shifted beneath her. The man she had planned to marry, the future she had envisioned, was slipping away. She turned back toward the house, her vision blurred with tears. I can't do this, she whispered, her voice trembling. I can't marry you, Zendi. With those words, she walked back toward the mansion, leaving Zendi standing alone in the garden, his heart heavy with regret. The wedding guests were left in stunned silence as Paris disappeared inside. Hope watched from the doorway as Paris passed by, their eyes meeting for a brief, heart-wrenching moment. There were no words that could make this right, no apology that could heal the wounds. But as Hope stepped outside and walked toward Zendi, she knew that the path ahead was filled with uncertainty and heart-talk. Zenda looked up as Hope approached, his expression a mixture of sorrow and relief. Hope. She reached out, taking his hand in hers, the weight of their choices hanging heavy between them. I'm so sorry, Zendi, she whispered. I never wanted to hurt her. Zenda nodded, his voice thick with emotion. Neither did I, but we can't change what's happened. We can only move forward. Together, they turned toward the mansion, leaving the shattered remains of Paris's dream wedding behind them. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Their lives would never be the same again. Hope you enjoyed this dramatic twist on a classic, bold, and the beautiful scenario.